Welcome to another episode of Track Talk. Today's episode is an excerpt from Live from My Drum Room with Myron Grombacher from 2023. And in this little segment, we talk about Myron's phenomenal drumming with Pat Benatar, specifically the songs All Fired Up, Shadows of the Night, and Invincible. We talk about his gear. We talk about that snare drum on Invincible and how Myron shares a couple of funny stories, not surprisingly, and I'll play those tracks at the end of our conversation. So come along for the ride. I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Yeah. Well, I think of some incredible parts you composed, you came up with, and all those Pat Benatar songs, and similar, creativity. You were obviously, maybe hearing something, some influence by somebody, whether, like you say, whether it was, could have been Terry, could have been Mitch, could have been anybody, but then you take it and make it this whole other thing that was yours. And I'll just say this.
That's what we should aspire to as artists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you should think of yourself as an artist.
Yeah.
Maybe it's finger painting, maybe it's fine design. It's still art. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Punk rock is as important to me as jazz music is. I don't differentiate. I mean, The Clash, I love deeply. Miles Davis, I love deeply.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Doesn't
remember you
matter.
telling me at a Pat Benatar gig 30 some odd years ago, you said something like, how did it sound after the show? Because you made some reference. You said, well, I want it to sound like the Clash. I wanted us to sound like and I got it. I got where you were coming from. Yeah.
I mean, we used to call it the PRV factor, punk rock violence factor. Like Spider and I would play, and a lot of those songs we cut by ourselves. I mean, just he and I.
Yeah.
And then people would play afterwards because there was a certain thing that happens when him and I play. There's, and our gift is probably our curse because it will happen every time we play. What I mean? You will get that sound. You may not always want that sound, but that sound will happen. What I mean? You go, okay, that's that sound, And sometimes we didn't want to dilute that. We just wanted to full on this thing.
Yep. It was All Fired Up. Is that like a great example of that happening? Because
the story All Fired Up, right?
I do, but I think you should tell it if it's okay. If you don't mind.
I'm going to tell it. Okay.
All right. Okay.
So we're pretty much done with the record, and the record company found this song All Fired Up, and it wasn't a bad song, but it was by an Australian guy. So the references in the song weren't anything that Patty related to lyrics. You know what I mean? So she goes, I think I want to do the song. Tyrone, go home and rewrite the lyrics. I was like, okay, all right, so I'll do that. So I'm there, listening to it over and over again. And I was, I was just at the point, after an album, you're pretty much burnt.
Yeah.
And I thought if I had anything to say, I probably said it before. Right now I'm trying to recharge my batteries. So I'm trying to draw something. Can't think of anything. I got a blank page in front of me. And so finally, all of a sudden, the hook is that I came up with was, I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from our mistakes. The deepest cuts are healed by faith. All fired up. When I had that, boom, everything else came out. Some of the lines that they used, and then Patty came up, when she heard that, she came up with a couple lines. So, we had what we needed. So we go in to cut the track, and we're in Ocean Rock. And I can't get the drum sound, And I'm going, and I listen to my drums, they sound great. And there was this engineer that they brought in, like a young guy, was not the right guy for that band at that time,
Yeah.
And I come in the next day and I run into Paul Lonnie, who's a tremendous engineer and a good friend of mine. He said, what are you doing? I said, well, we're here with Ocean Man. I'm having trouble getting the drum sound. He goes, what? Your drums. He goes, I'll get you drum sound. He walks in literally in 5 minutes. It sounded amazing. Well, that kind of pissed Spider off, because, and one thing led to another, and he and I like brothers, but we get to like a little bit of a tip, but not a big deal. So then we start playing. And I can tell he doesn't want to do this song. You know what I mean? So after about take 5, you know, bum, 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 a different song is in my head. You know, and I go, I kind of call him out on it, you know, and he's frustrated and I'm frustrated, and one thing leads to the other, and we go at each other. I mean, we go at each other. So they rip us apart, you know, and I have all this adrenaline in my body, you know, because if I don't kill you in the first 10 minutes, what am I going to do with that, you know? So I just start running, you know, and you know, I'm running down Sunset and I'm taking the thing, and I take like 3 laps till my heart is like normal. And I come walking through the door, and Spider was in there just screwing around with that beat, D, 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 and I just sit down, boom, and we just start playing. And we do that one take, and that's the record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everything that, you know, we went through cathartically wound up on tape. And even the break where she stopped singing and I do the drum roll,
Yeah.
it fell apart. And I just did the drum roll, and we all knew to come in on that chorus thing. It was like a magical moment. And Keith Forsey, who was working with Neil on the record, it was like, the look on his face was like, what was that? You know, because we've been like torturing each other, you know, for 10 takes on this thing with no commitment, and then just to really do that.
That's amazing, man. Yeah.
But it kind of, in that band, you know, at that time, it was important that Spider and I were lined up, you know, and normally we were, but you know, neither one of us wanted to do that song. I got to tell you the truth, we didn't want to do it, but once we said yes, we're committed to it. You know, if I say I'm going to do it, I do it. You know, and so does it.
Well, that take, you know, what you guys, that's a great story, and what you guys got out of it is still holds up. Like,
I know, it's every time I hear it, I'm impressed with it. I go, damn, that sounds great. But and I think the guitar solo's live. You know, I'm trying to remember. I think he just started playing, and then later on he put rhythm underneath it, which we would do a lot.
Yeah,
you know, he was such an incredible, and still is, an amazing guitar player.
Oh man, is he?
Yeah. I mean, like we'd be playing, and he could play lead and rhythm at the same time. I mean, when we were done, just drums and guitar sounded like a tape, or a song. I mean, all of our demos sounded like the White Stripes before the White Stripes. It was just guitar and drums and big. You know, we had this a blaster that could record. You know, a big one. And Spider dropped it on the ground, you know, and then when we picked it up, it did something to the compressors, and it crunched everything down. And there's a picture of the 3 of us.
Yeah, that was like 10 years ago when you guys played in Boston.
Oh my God!
One of the anniversary tours. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
So in any case, that's what we did, these really crunchy demos on it, and we would then go in the studio and spend a lot of money trying to get the same time. So. There you go.
I want to just jump back for 1 second, Myron, before I forget this thought. When you mentioned Shadows of the Night and you talk about the drum sound, to me, the sound you got on that song, I mean, it was like, they sound like, because the song's about, you know, I think of the video where it's like it's a battle scene, you know, in a war, and you're flying in the plane. I know that's not your. I know that's not your.
I got a lot of fan letters from Germany. A lot of girls in Lederhosen, you know, they dug that. You know.
They loved it. No, I remember you telling me that was not your happiest moment, but
no,
you were sitting in a bar.
I said I was on drugs. I wasn't, but I told them I was. They said, well, you know, I had a drug habit. I would never sober. I would never do that. It's a lie.
No, I was just going to say, but the tom-toms in that song sound like explosions. I mean, they complement what's happening in that song so perfectly. It's like, and that's a great example of what you're talking about, where you wanted that sound. I mean, it's, you listen to that.
And that's me and Peter Coleman, you know, spending an extra hour in the studio before everybody gets in, you know, and tweaking that out to where what I heard in my head, we're hitting the tape with, you know. So when everybody walked in, that was just there.
Yeah.
You know, let's do this. And you know, that carried the day pretty much.
Were the drums really detuned, Myron? Would you have them, like, did they sound like they're so
tuned very low. but they're
Yeah.
not detuned. I mean,
They're
there's
not
no
detuned.
flap in them. No, I mean, they were resonant, very
Yeah.
resonant,
They're so big
yeah.
sounding, man.
They're huge.
Just
Yeah, I know.
explosive. I'm going to listen to it when we're done. I'm going to put that song on. It's so great.
Pretty cool. Mike Chapman, who I worked with a bunch, was great because he would make super exciting sounding records. And when we did Invincible,
Great.
I was just screwing around with it. We had never played the song. So I heard it and I was just trying things. We did 2 run-throughs to actually learn the song. And at the end of the second run-through, I said, okay, I'm ready to go. He goes, I got it. I go, what? I said, no, I know what I want to play. He goes, I got it. You're done. And he did. I mean, it was the first take and the bridge he kept from the second take. Because I think I stopped playing and was thinking of, fixing my hi-hat or something. but he, and they were, and he was right. Like when I hear that track, I go, well, for what we were trying to do, which was like an exciting, energetic, hard-sounding track, that snare drum,
Oh my God.
just that's Invincible, my main drum.
Yeah.
I've used on everything, but he took that sound to another level.
Yeah.
And that was Tucko with him, George Tucko.
That was that was my lead-in question when I first met you at Simmons in 1985. That song was on the radio, and I said, "Can I ask you a question?" And he went, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, what?" And I said, "What was the snare drum you used on Invincible?" And you said, "The Invincible snare." It was great. I'll never forget it. 40 years later.
That was my Billy Cobham moment with you. RL.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I had made a note about John Aldridge, and we talked about this once before.
Engraved the drum. Yeah.
And that was one of the prototypes you mentioned, right? One of the Ludwig, like a Black Beauty sort of prototype with.
Well, no, that was it was the prototype for what became their brass.
Oh,
snare.
Right. Brass snare, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I always mix it up.
The Black Beauties were brass too, but they were black. This one is, natural finish.
Yeah. And John engraved it for you.
6.5. John, amazing job engraving it.
Yeah.
He's the guy's a true artist. He's an amazing drum guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he
sure
knows
is.
a lot about drums.
Yep.
He's an asset to us.
He's a great guy and a funny man too. Great.
It's funny, yeah.
He's a great sarcastic sense of humor, and I love him.
It was good. When we were on tour with Ario, he was, I would see him every day, and he's just a funny guy.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing him.
Well, that drum, I want to say recently, I don't know who I was talking to. Gosh, I'm sorry, I can't, but someone told me that they based a sound on a record that they have off that. Like they told the engineer, I want the sound that Myron had on Invincible for maybe it was Greg talking about wanting that sound for the David Lee Roth record. I think that might have been it.
I love Greg. Greg and I are like, he's like a little brother to me, so at different times, I would just, you want to use that, I don't, and I've done that with my other friends too, but Chapman, sampled that snare, and then he would use it on everything. And I'd come in, and he was so deaf, that he would have the speaker so loud. So I come into Oceanway and I'm doing a session, and I stop and I listen, and there was Mike Chapman working here. Because I could hear it. It was that loud. And I open it, it's deafening, and the both of them are looking over at me and their faces are red because that's my snare drum. I go, is that my snare drum? And Chapman goes, it's our snare drum. It's pretty funny. Yeah.
shadows of the night. So baby, take my hand, it'll be alright. Surrender all your dreams to me tonight. They'll come true in the it's a cold world when you keep it all to yourself. I said you can't hide on the inside all the pain you've ever felt. Ransom my heart, but baby, don't look back, 'cause we got nobody else. We're running with the shadows of the night. So baby, take my hand, it'll be alright. Surrender all your dreams to me tonight. They'll come true in the end. You know, sometimes it feels like it's all moving way too fast. Use every alibi and word to deny that love ain't meant to last. You can cry tough, baby, it's alright. You can let me down easy, but not tonight. We're running with the shadows of the night. So baby, take my hand, it'll be alright. Surrender all your dreams to me tonight. They'll come true in the end.
All right, well, that's my show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done that already. And the podcast is available on all the podcast platforms, so download it. And remember, no drummers are ever harmed on Live from My Drum Room or Track Talk. And drummers, when in doubt, leave it out. All right. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you again real soon. See ya.